Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about stage 4 in the design thinking process, prototype. In this episode, we will talk about stage 5 in the design thinking process, test. The 5 stages of design thinking, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test are not sequential steps in a project. Instead, they are modes that you take on during each phase of your project, sometimes in parallel or in iterative loops, as and when they would give you the most learning and value. For instance, you can create prototypes early on in the project, ahead of ideation, to help your team empathize with users. The test stage of the design thinking process often feeds into the other stages. That's the beauty of the iterative design process. When designers want to determine and understand exactly how users will interact with the product, the most obvious method is to test how the users interact with the product. It would be foolhardy and pointless to produce a finished product for the users to test. Instead, designers can provide simple, scaled down versions of the products, which can then be used in order to observe, judge, record, and measure user performance levels based on specific elements or the user's general behavior, interactions, and reactions to the overall design. These earlier versions are known as prototypes. They are not necessarily in the medium of the finished product, as this may not be the cost effective in terms of time or money. Prototypes are built so that designers can think about their solutions in a different way. Tangible products rather than abstract ideas, as well as to fail quickly and cheaply, so that less time and money is invested in an idea that turns out to be a bad one. Let's look at the 5 guidelines for conducting a test. Show, don't tell. Let your users experience the prototype. Make sure to introduce yourself. Never ever say you are the designer, even if you are. People will be less honest with feedback if you think you are the author and won't want to hurt your feelings. Explain how long the session should take and what your expectations are for them and what they are going to be doing. Always ask if they have any questions before starting. Avoid over explaining how your prototype works or how it is supposed to solve your user's problem. Let the user's experience in using the prototype speak for itself and observe their reactions. Second, ask participants to talk through their experience. When participants are exploring the prototype, ask them to tell you what they are thinking. Let them know that they should think out loud and speak what's on their minds during the entire test session. This does not come naturally to people, so you may have to prompt the participants during the test to remind them. In your intro to the test, make sure to let them know you are expecting this and give an example. You want them to let you know what they expect to happen when they select something or what they were expecting to see on the screen based on the title or location. Third, observe your participants. Be a neutral observer. Observe how your participants use your prototype and resist the urge to correct them when they misinterpret how it's supposed to be used. Mistakes are valuable learning opportunities. Remember that you are testing the prototype, not the participant. Number 4, ask follow-up questions. Always follow up with questions, even if you think you know what the participant means. Ask questions such as, what do you mean when you say? How did that make you feel? What did you expect would happen? And more importantly, why? Number 5, negative feedback is your way to learn and improve. When you test your ideas and prototypes, remember that negative feedback is an important way to learn and improve. You might feel a sting in the moment when you hear a person complain about how difficult your prototype is to use. But try to get used to the idea that such feedback will help you in the long run. You will uncover problems that you and your team might not have even considered. Always remember that quote from Sir Ken Robinson. If you're not prepared to be wrong, you will never come up with anything original. The end goal: desirable, feasible, and viable solutions. The design thinking process doesn't follow a fixed sequence of steps, but it has an ideal endpoint. The end goal of every design thinking project is a solution that is desirable, feasible, and viable. So let's look at what is desirability. Desirability focuses on people. It's what puts the human in the human-centered design. Your solution is desirable if it appeals to the needs, emotions, and behaviors of the people you target. Feasibility is about technology. Is your design solution technically possible, or does it depend on technology that's yet to be invented or good enough for regular use? Viability is about whether your design solution works as a business. Is there an appropriate business model behind your solution, or would it collapse after a few years without investor or donor contributors? Design thinking is not about making a profit, but good design solutions should be self-sustaining. That way, you can continue to support and improve your solutions way beyond the project deadline. When you're able to create a prototype or finished product or service that satisfies the desirability, feasibility, and viability test, power yourself and pat yourself on the back. Congratulate your team and even do a small dance if you like. You've designed a solution that will impact people around you for the better, and one that will continue to improve lives in years to come. Let's look at the takeaways from this session. Testing is the fifth stage in the five-stage design thinking process. You often perform tests together with the prototyping stage. Through testing, you can learn more about users, improve your prototype, and even refine your problem statement. To help you plan a test, there are a number of guidelines that you can follow. Number 1, show and don't tell. Let your people experience the prototype. Number 2, ask test participants to talk through their experience. Number 3, observe your users. Number 4, ask follow-up questions. And number 5, negative feedback is your way to learn and improve. And last but not the least, the design thinking process is fluid, iterative, and flexible. The different stages often feed into one another and don't necessarily follow any fixed sequence. That said, the ideal endpoint of design thinking, when you know you've done a great job, is when the product or service is desirable, feasible, and viable. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. We will continue to talk about design thinking in more details in our upcoming sessions. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.